There's something quite humbling about how life changes with age. At 66, or even well beyond, every choice we make feels a little more precious, doesn't it? Meals stop being just about hunger, they become conversations with the body, small moments where we can either nurture ourselves or unknowingly burden ourselves. It's easy to think, why change now? Isn't it too late? But here's the quiet truth. The body is remarkably adaptable, even after decades of habits. It may not bounce back as quickly as it once did, but it listens more carefully, it responds more gently, and it rewards us with energy when we treat it kindly. That's why stepping into vegetarian living at this age isn't about restriction at all. It's about honoring what your body is whispering to you. For some, it's the heaviness after a meal that lingers longer than it used to. For others, it's the slower digestion, or even the subtle sense that meat doesn't bring the same comfort it once did. These aren't failures of your body, they're signs that it wants a different kind of support. And when you listen, you start to realize that your plate is not shrinking, it's expanding with new colors, textures, and possibilities. Think of it like this. Every decade of life teaches us something different. In youth, we chase strength and speed. In midlife, we chase stability. And later, perhaps, the lesson shifts toward awareness, compassion, and a quieter kind of strength that comes not from pushing harder, but from choosing more wisely. Food becomes part of that wisdom. A lighter meal doesn't just nourish your stomach, it frees your mind. It softens your evening. It helps you wake with less stiffness. Have you noticed how certain meals make you feel heavy in your joints or foggy in your thoughts? Have you ever wondered if the body is gently asking for a change? These questions aren't demands, they're invitations to notice, to reflect, to care. And the beautiful thing is, there's no race, no clock ticking down. Change can be as simple as adding one fresh vegetable to your plate, or skipping meat once a week just to see how it feels. It's not about perfection, it's about curiosity. It's about creating space for your body to tell you what it truly wants at this stage of your life. And if you begin to listen, you may find that the very fears you had, that it's too late, too difficult, start to dissolve. Because what's really happening isn't about food at all. It's about learning, once again, to trust yourself, to respect the way your body has carried you through all these years, and to give it a little more kindness now when it needs it most. I wonder, where are you right now as you're reading this? Maybe in your kitchen, maybe in a quiet chair, maybe on the other side of the world. Share your location in the comments below. It's always beautiful to see how these little reflections travel across so many different lives. Margaret was 68 when she first thought about giving up meat. She worried, as many do, that without it she would lose strength or feel tired. Her friends told her she was being unrealistic, that changing her diet at her age could only bring complications. But Margaret was curious. She began gently, with no rules or strict plans. At first, she simply replaced her evening meat dish with a hearty vegetable soup and some whole-grain bread. To her surprise, after a few weeks, she noticed that her morning walks felt lighter. She wasn't as sluggish when getting out of bed. The stiffness in her joints softened, and even her digestion felt calmer. She hadn't expected that such a small shift could carry so much weight in her everyday life. What Margaret discovered is something many of us forget. The body is always talking to us. The challenge isn't whether we can change, it's whether we're willing to listen. At this stage of life, your body doesn't always shout. Instead, it whispers. A bit of heaviness here, an extra yawn there, a meal that leaves you more tired than satisfied. These are gentle nudges, invitations to notice and adjust. So the first step is not to throw out everything you've known, but to pause and pay attention. Start with something simple, one meal a day without meat. Perhaps breakfast, a warm bowl of oatmeal with nuts and fruit. Or lunch, a salad topped with beans and olive oil. Give yourself permission to experiment, without pressure, without judgment. After that meal, notice how you feel. Are you lighter, more energized, or calmer in your digestion? Keep a small notebook nearby, nothing fancy, just a place to jot down what you notice. Over time, those little notes become a map of your body's quiet wisdom. The beauty is, you don't need to follow anyone else's diet or copy someone else's plan. This journey isn't about rules. It's about your relationship with your own body. You are the best observer of how food makes you feel. And when you honor that, every small change becomes not a restriction, but a gift of care. Think of it like learning to dance with yourself again. You take one step forward, listen for the rhythm, and then take another. There will be days when you stumble or when you crave what feels familiar. That's part of the dance too. Nothing is lost and nothing is wasted. Each step is simply another opportunity to practice awareness and kindness. If Margaret could discover new energy at 68 by making just one gentle change, why not you? And remember, it's never about how quickly you move. It's about how softly you listen. If these reflections resonate with you, I invite you to subscribe so you won't miss the next gentle steps we'll explore together. Little by little, you'll find that this journey is less about food and more about building a new, tender relationship with yourself, one that honors who you are right now. As we grow older, the body speaks in ways it never did before. Science has a gentle way of explaining this. With age, our metabolism naturally slows down. What once felt like an easy dinner in your 40s might now leave you feeling heavy into the night. The stomach produces less acid, digestion takes longer, and the body's ability to break down certain proteins becomes less efficient. This is why some people in their 60s and 70s notice discomfort after meals that once felt perfectly normal. It isn't weakness, it's simply biology, the quiet evolution of a body that has carried you through decades of living. And here's something worth holding on to. A diet richer in plants can actually ease these shifts. Vegetables, fruits, legumes, and grains bring with them not only vitamins and minerals, but also fiber, which acts like a gentle broom inside your system, helping digestion flow with more ease. Plant proteins, lentils, beans, tofu, even a handful of nuts offer what your body needs without demanding so much from your digestive tract. The heart, too, benefits from these changes. Doctors have long noticed that plant-based diets can lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and even improve circulation. Imagine your body as a river. Over time, small pebbles and leaves gather in the stream, slowing the flow. A lighter, plant-based way of eating clears the path, letting the current move more freely. There's a common myth that older adults must cling to meat for strength, that without it, muscles will vanish and energy will fade. But the truth is far gentler. Your body doesn't require meat. It requires protein, and that can come from many sources. In fact, plant proteins often come paired with fiber, antioxidants, and healing compounds that meat simply cannot offer. Many people even find that their energy feels more stable when they shift toward plants. No more sharp highs and lows after meals, but a steadier kind of vitality that matches the rhythm of later life. It can be comforting to know that this isn't about giving something up, but about making space for what supports you now. Your body is not betraying you by changing. It is inviting you to nourish it in new ways. Ask yourself softly, do I notice more bloating after certain meals? Do I feel more tired than satisfied after eating? Could this be my body's way of asking for something lighter, something gentler? There are no wrong answers, only opportunities to listen more closely. By understanding the simple science behind these changes, you may find it easier to trust the path you are on. What once seemed like a sacrifice becomes an act of alignment with the truth of your body today. And isn't that a beautiful thought? That even in our later years, we are still learning how to live in harmony with ourselves. When you begin to make changes in how you eat, it helps to think of it less as a strict plan and more as a gentle rhythm you are learning to follow. Start with just one new ingredient each week, something simple and approachable. Perhaps lentils, soft and earthy, that can be turned into a warm soup. Or chickpeas, which you might sprinkle into a salad or mash into a spread. By choosing one food at a time, you allow your taste buds and your body to adjust without overwhelm. Pair these new proteins with vegetables you already enjoy. If you love carrots, potatoes, or spinach, let them remain the foundation of your meals. Familiar flavors create comfort, and when comfort is present, change feels less like a burden and more like a natural step. Season your food in ways that bring you joy. Herbs, spices, a drizzle of olive oil. These small touches are what make meals feel alive. Too often, people think vegetarian food must be bland, but the truth is, it can be vibrant, colorful, and deeply satisfying when you honor your own preferences. Allow yourself time. You may find that some meals feel wonderful, while others feel less so. That's not failure, it's part of the learning. The body is like a dear friend who speaks softly. Sometimes it says, yes, this feels good, and other times, not quite. Can you give yourself the patience to listen without judgment, to adjust without rushing? Over time, you will notice subtle shifts. Perhaps you feel lighter after lunch. Perhaps your evening rest is deeper. Perhaps the stiffness in your joints is less demanding. Ask yourself gently, do I wake with more ease after a lighter dinner? Does my body feel calmer when I eat more plants? These small questions open a door to self-awareness. Remember, you do not need to replace everything at once. Even a single plant-based meal each day is progress. And progress, no matter how small, has a way of building on itself. Think of it like planting seeds in a garden. Each little choice grows into something larger, something nourishing. The important thing is not speed, but consistency. Not perfection, but presence. Give yourself permission to celebrate small victories. If you tried lentils for the first time, that is worth celebrating. If you discovered a new spice you enjoy, that too is a step forward. These steps may seem modest, but together they create momentum. And soon, what once felt unfamiliar becomes part of your normal rhythm. In this way, you are not only feeding your body, but also reshaping your relationship with food. It stops being about what you are cutting out and begins to feel like what you are welcoming in. New flavors, new sensations, new vitality. Change becomes not a burden, but a gentle act of love toward yourself. Isn't it comforting to realize that you don't have to do everything at once? That you can move slowly and still arrive exactly where you need to be? Aging does not mean the narrowing of life. It can mean the deepening of it, the chance to rediscover how small daily choices shape your sense of vitality. Every meal becomes a gesture of kindness, a reminder that the years behind you are not a burden but a foundation. The truth is, this decision is less about food and more about relationship, with your body, with your energy, with the way you experience each day. When you place fresh vegetables on your plate or simmer a pot of beans with familiar spices, you are telling yourself, I am still worthy of nourishment, of renewal, of care. Isn't that, in many ways, the real gift of growing older? To learn that caring for yourself is not selfish, but sacred. Each step you take on this path does not have to be grand. It can be as small as choosing a lighter dinner or enjoying a bowl of fruit instead of something heavier. It can be listening, really listening to how your body feels afterward. And when you notice a little more ease in your joints, a softer kind of energy in your mornings, or even just the quiet joy of discovering a new recipe, let that be your reminder. Change is still possible. Joy is still possible. Growth is still possible. Some people fear that by leaving meat behind, they will lose strength or comfort. Yet what so often happens is the opposite. You discover a new strength, not just in your body, but in your spirit. Because strength is not only the power of muscles, it is also the courage to begin again, the gentleness to adapt, the wisdom to choose what serves you now. And perhaps the greatest gift of this journey is the understanding that it is never too late to give yourself a new beginning. So as you move forward, do it with tenderness. Do it with curiosity. Do it with the knowledge that you are not aiming for perfection, but for alignment with what feels right in your life today. If these reflections resonate with you, I invite you to subscribe so that you can continue walking this path with a companion who understands the subtleties of change. And tell me, if you would, what is one small change in your eating that has brought you unexpected joy? Share it in the comments, because your story may be the encouragement someone else needs to take their own first gentle step.